There are a lot of people who are very depressed by the changes that are taking place in journalism, but I'm not so depressed. Look, journalism is a very precarious profession. There's not much money to be made out of it these days, and we face enormous pressures. We face the traditional pressures from politicians or others who want to influence media, but also I think we have great opportunities, because we have a real opportunity to set up a partnership with the audience, because the audience is now very much part of the journalistic process, and that means we have the capacity to get it right and also to report more effectively and so on. Of course, there are big challenges. The online communication system means that there are some of the partners that that we look at are not very ethical. There's a lot of hate speech in the online world and so on. So we have to make a distinction between what is good journalism and what is just hateful free expression. They're not the same thing. Journalism isn't free expression in that regard, and so I think it's really quite important that we recognize the challenges, but I think on the whole we can be positive, because I think there are opportunities are enormous for good journalism. Journalists regulating themselves and insisting that they do good work should never be limiting for media. How on earth can that be regarded as limiting for media? It's only limiting for media if media want to sacrifice standards, if media want to publish quickly, don't check facts, don't verify information, and they want to join a rat race for sensationalism and for audience share and so on. And that's one of the problems about the competition motive that is at work and driving a lot of media and journalism today. We have to guard against that. The rush to publish is a very dangerous development in modern journalism. What we have to do is to say, look, we want to maintain standards, we want to sort of make what we do trustworthy and reliable. That may take time. We're never going to be as fast as Twitter or Facebook or the internet, but there's no reason why we should be, because what we're producing is different. Journalism is different. It's information that you should be able to rely on, which should be trustworthy, and therefore we need to take more time. So setting standards is important, and getting our media organisations to respect that is even more important, because we need the media organisations to join us. And my organisation, the Ethical Journalism Network, brings together owners, broadcasting and press and online, journalist groups, media development groups, working together to try to maintain standards. So I think there are reasons to be cheerful. Things are going to, I think, get better. Building journalism on the basis of the number of clicks you get is never going to work. I mean, look, people are inquisitive people. We might be very ethical. I'm very ethical. Look, I am as interested as the next person in, if something comes up which sort of says, the bishop of this thing has done that, and it's a really salacious story, I'm going to find out, is it true? What happened? So, of course, we're inquisitive and so on. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean that I have to believe it and so on. Journalism should not be driven by the need to be first and the need to get most attention. Journalism isn't a beauty pageant. It's not about saying we're the most beautiful, come and see us because we are quick and so on. It's about creating information which is really reliable and trustworthy. The reality of it is most people, when it comes to the real crisis in their lives, when it comes to war, when it comes to a national political crisis and so on, they don't go online to look at Twitter and so on. They go to traditional media. They go to the media that they can trust, the ones that are reliable, because they go there because they know they will be told something which is close to the truth. If they rely only on the information they're getting on Twitter and Facebook, they have no direction to go in and so on. So the reality of it is, yes, clicks are important. In a world of celebrity and pop culture, you can see why that happens. But when it comes down to the important things in life, people need access to reliable and trustworthy information, and that's what journalism provides. We don't need the international community to teach us to be ethical, to teach us to be decent people. We know what's right and what's wrong. We know what's decent, what's indecent, what's shameful, what's praiseworthy. Why on earth would we hand over responsibility to tell us what our moral conduct should be to some sort of UN bureaucrats, either in New York or in Geneva or even in Brussels? Look, we don't need the international community to dictate to us. What we need is the freedom to be able to make our decisions and to lift the pressure that's on us. In Bosnia, there are still media being attacked, independent journalists being attacked. There is still enormous pressure. Journalism is a very precarious profession. You don't earn much money. It's corrupt. There are whole elements of corruption. These are the things that we need to tackle, and the international community is not going to help us do that. We can only do that ourselves. And it's exactly the same for standards. We need to set our own standards. be truthful, be impartial, show humanity in what we do, be accountable for the work that we do, be responsible. These are the values that we know about. We have to translate them in the Bosnian context into the best way for Bosnian journalists to work across all platforms: broadcasting, radio, TV, press, online. And it's something that Bosnian journalists themselves should do. They should take their own responsibility and not contract it out to somebody else.